Come with me today to experience one of the world's best first-class products on an aeroplane, but for only 1 hour, on what might be just about the world's shortest first-class flight. Our journey today is from Singapore to Jakarta in Indonesia. Clocking in at only 901 kilometers, this flight is barely longer than an hour. If you enjoy the video, I'd be extremely grateful if you could like it and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Our journey today begins at Singapore Changi Airport, Terminal 3. My flight was leaving from Terminal 2, but the lounges are far superior in Terminal 3. I checked in at the private check-in area for first class. I didn't get any video in here because I was the only one in there and felt a little bit self-conscious, but I took this video outside. From here, it's only a short walk to a private first-class immigration queue. The main advantage of using this isn't really the speed, as Singapore security tends to be pretty quick anyway, but it's because when you go through that security, you come out right next to the Singapore lounges. And here's where we come up, right next to the escalator that takes you up to the Singapore Airlines lounges, and importantly, the private room, Singapore's lounge that's available only for first-class ticket holders. No loyalty or status will get you in here unless you are flying in a Singapore Airlines marked first-class cabin. Upon checking in, I was taken over to a private dining area and ordered a sparkling water and a coconut to begin. My first course were these salted egg paos. They look simple, but they were really delicious. Sweet, but not too sweet, and full of flavour. Next up, I ordered the assorted satay, which was chicken, beef and lamb. Again, I have nothing but good words to say about this. It was really good. I ordered this dish for my main course. It was off of their Chinese New Year menu, and so it might not be there when you go, but it had prawn, abalone and pork. As I was still feeling a bit peckish, I ordered this salmon, egg and rice dish. This was by far the highlight. I don't know if the video does it justice, but this was the best item I'd eaten all day. Really, really good. To finish, I had some ice cream. A simple scoop of vanilla, chocolate and strawberry. I was impressed. I don't know what brand they use, but this was really high quality. Having eaten in the lounge, I now had to make my way over to Terminal 2, where my flight is departing from. I went to Terminal 3 instead, because the lounges are far superior. Fortunately, Changi Airport makes it very easy to get around between terminals. You can hop on this shuttle bus, which will get you there in about 2 minutes. I'll speed this up from now, so as not to bore you. Upon arrival, I nipped into the Terminal 2 First Class Lounge, just to try out the food. I had a pork pao and some sushi. Not great, but not terrible either. Perfectly eatable. After my extremely brief visit to the Terminal 2 lounge, I then had to go and make my way to the gate. A short walk down these escalators, and then I will turn right to my gate, E28, which is about a 5, maybe 6 minute walk away from the lounge. Singapore Airlines, somewhat surprisingly, doesn't do a separate line for security checks for its first-class passengers. Thankfully, when I arrived, there was no queue. I got on board and was greeted by the extremely friendly flight attendants. They offered me a Diet Coke and some warm nuts before we took off. The cabin in Singapore Airlines is arranged in a 1-2-1 configuration, meaning there is only 1 row in first class and only 4 seats total. I swear there were more flight attendants than passengers in this cabin. After not too long, we began taxiing to the runway, readying for takeoff. Here's the plane ahead of us, just getting ready to take off as well. Not sure where it's going to. After only about 5 minutes, we made our way onto the runway finally. I'm going to speed up the actual takeoff, so that you don't sit here watching it for too long. I was sat in seat 1A, and let's have a little look around it. You have a very large television. I'm not sure exactly how big it was, but it certainly filled up your viewing space. Not the highest definition, as it's quite old, but not bad. There are no overhead bins in the Singapore First Class cabin. Instead, you put your bags under the seat, and there's this little rest for your feet as well as a very nice pillow. All of the controls were manual buttons, and were very intuitive to understand. Seat back, leg rest up, not that complicated. There was also a headphone socket on both sides, as well as a reading light if you wanted to read in the dark. On the left-hand side of the seat, there was this little stowaway place for you to put a mobile phone and charge it. It also came with 2 USB-A style charging ports. Here's where the flight gets really impressive. So you've got to bear in mind, this flight is only airborne for about an hour and 10 minutes. And yet they still managed to do a 3-course meal, served course by course, as well as multiple refreshment rounds if you want it. Our menu today from Singapore to Jakarta is the light dinner on the left. In addition to food, they stock a full bar as well, with 3 different types of vintage champagne. I think Krug is technically non-vintage, but 3 really good champagnes all the same. You also have a wide variety of white and red wines, as well as a port as well. It really is impressive that they managed to stock such a full cellar for such a short flight. Just to the left of the footrest is another storage area. The crew put my headphones in here for takeoff so that they didn't fly off. Again, you certainly won't be short of storage space on this flight. One other thing you won't be short of is seat space. I'm a reasonably big guy, about 6'1" and maybe 85 kgs, and look how much space I had on this seat. You could practically fit another person next to me. If anything, the seat is a little bit on the large side. You've really got to put your arm over to reach the armrest. Still, I guess too much space is better than too little. The finishings in this cabin were very high quality. Look at this pillow. With a leather-stitched cover, it was very nice. Also on the left side was a reading light and a headphone socket, so you can decide which side you would rather plug your headphones in and also where you want your light for reading to come from. To the left, there was another universal power socket for you to charge all of your devices. They also had a HDMI in port in case you wanted to watch your own stuff on the TV. Unfortunately, the cabin was beginning to show its age. It said on my app beforehand that this plane was 10 years old, and it shows. Nothing terrible, but it could use a lick of paint. This is the remote control for the entertainment system. It comes with a small 4-inch screen, so you can do additional functions without disrupting your film. Checking out the toilets, these were very nicely finished and appointed. They also came with Lalique body lotion, facial mist, and eau de toilette aftershave. These smelled really good and are a cut above what they put in the business class cabin. The toilet itself was quite large and spacious, and there were 2 at the front of the plane. Bear in mind there's a maximum of 4 passengers. You'll certainly never be waiting. Also in the toilets was fully stocked with amenities. Shaver, toothbrush, comb, whatever you need, they've got a copy in here for you. Returning to my seat, the crew wasted absolutely no time in setting up for the dinner service. They've got to do 3 courses in just over an hour, so let's go. First up was a lobster and caviar salad. This was simple, but delicious and refreshing. Served at the same time was some garlic bread. In my opinion, Singapore Airlines does some of the best garlic bread in the sky. I would have gone for a second piece, but I was too full. For my main course, I ordered the Wagyu yakiniku. I hope I pronounced that right. This is a dish off of the Singapore Airlines Book the Cook menu, which you have to specifically order more than 24 hours in advance. Again, I'm not sure if the video does this justice, but it was absolutely delicious. For dessert, it was a chocolate macaron pudding. I'm not exaggerating when I say this was the best dessert I've ever had on a plane. It doesn't look it, because it looks so simple, but it was out of this world. 10 out of 10. Barely 40 minutes after we'd taken off, we were finished with the meal service and beginning our descent into Jakarta. Overall, this flight was incredible. On a lot of other airlines, they can barely get the first course out in about an hour. And yet here, Singapore Airlines managed to serve a full 3-course meal and it didn't even feel rushed. Is it excessive to fly first class for such a short flight? Yes, of course, but I'd highly recommend it.